Hey guys, and welcome back to our flipped classroom. This week we are looking at your week 10 vocabulary words, and so your I can statement for that is I can define my words and write definitions that you'll use on your quiz, but also remember that hopefully these are things you can start using in your writing. Alright, your first word is abdicate, and so it's a verb, which means it's an action, and it means to resign or relinquish. Okay, so relinquish there means to give something up. So your examples there are job positions. A lot of times people will decide that they don't want to work at a place anymore, or that they want to move on to something else, and so they abdicate their position or their title. You may also want to think about it in terms of kings and queens abdicating their throne, because abdicate to me sounds like a very grown-up word. But it's a verb, it's an action that means to give up or resign, usually a job, position, or title. Alright, your next one is aberration. It's a noun, which just means it's a thing, right? But it's something unusual. So the examples I gave you here are teachers in public. So a lot of times if I see a student in public, some of you guys are really pumped, and then some of you have this look of just like you're terrified, right? Like I didn't know they ever left the school. So teachers in public could be an aberration, something you weren't expecting to see. I also put snow in July because we don't think about in the hottest month of the year seeing something like snow. Alright, so aberration describes something that is unusual, and your examples are maybe seeing something unexpected in public, or just something happening that you didn't expect it to. Your next one is abject. Alright, it's an adjective, so it's describing something, and your definition is miserable circumstances. Okay, so something that's just really, really terrible. Your examples that I've put down are third world countries. When you hear third world country, even if you're not sure what that means necessarily, typically you know it's bad, right? There's not enough food, shelter, the living circumstances are really terrible, they're miserable. Or in our first world sort of like privileged mindset, abject for us could just mean no Wi-Fi access, right? We don't have the capability to get on the internet. Okay, so abject is a descriptor. It's an adjective that describes something that's miserable, something that is abject. Your next word is abolish. Okay, it's a verb, it's an action again that means to do away with. Okay, so it could sort of cover a whole host of things, but the examples I've given you are texting and eating in class. Those are things that the rules have abolished. Those are things that teachers in the school and GTCC have said we are getting rid of those things. Okay? Another example is just like a rule or procedure. So like a procedure could be we have abolished the way we used to do quizzes in English, right? So on our vocab quizzes now you write sentences instead of filling in the blank. I did away with that previous form of quizzing, so I abolished what we were doing. So again, it's an action, it's a verb, and you're getting rid of something or you're walking away from it. Your next word is abridge, okay? It is a verb, and it just means to shorten. So a synonym for this could be abbreviate, if you want to think about it that way. The examples I wrote down are classic novels. I know when I was little, my mom bought me a set of classic novels, but they weren't actually the full-length Pride and Prejudice or Black Beauty or Jane Eyre. They were abbreviated or abridged versions, and that just meant that they were shorter. So I could still get the big picture of the story, but I didn't have to read 400 pages to do it. I also put down early release days. If you think about our schedule on early release days, they are abridged and shortened, right? So your classes are only about an hour instead of an hour and a half. So we abridge, we shorten each class period to make sure you can leave early. Right, your next one is accent, and this week we're using it as a verb. It could be used as a noun in another context, but here it's going to mean to put stress or emphasis on, okay? So the examples I've given you are in Spanish class. I know that Mr. Lopez has probably taught you this, but there are certain parts of words and certain words in Spanish that have to be accented in order for people to understand them. And that means that on those certain syllables, you're putting a different emphasis on that word. I also put down context clues. A lot of times, if I'm trying to get you guys to sort of like understand something or I want you to pay attention to it, I will put accents on words, or I'll use my hand to sort of accent or emphasize what I want to say. And then that way it sticks out to you. So you're using your context clues while watching me to know that I want you to pay attention to that word or phrase. Alright, so again, it's a verb and you're putting emphasis or extra attention on that word or idea. So it's an accent. Alright, an accolade. Ms. Bullock used this a few weeks ago in our quarter one ceremony, but it's a noun, okay, and it describes a praise or an award. So you could get an accolade for making 100 on your vocab quiz, and a lot of you earned accolades for your AD honor roll, for your service learning hours, for perfect attendance, for your most improved. Okay, so accolade is sort of just a fancier way of saying you're getting an award. Okay, so it's using that higher level vocab. So accolade, praise, or award, and you guys hopefully get a lot of those. Alright, your next word is acquiesce. Okay, so it's got that C in there, but it kind of all goes to this at the end. Acquiesce is a verb, so it's an action that means to agree to. Okay, so it's not a hard word. Again, it's sort of just a synonym to something else we might call a compromise, right? But your examples that I've given you are parents, right? I would like to go to a party this weekend, Mom and Dad, and they say if you clean your room, you can go and stay out until 11 o'clock, and you acquiesce to their demands. Friends who ask something of you, maybe you give them an extra ride to school this week, and they acquiesce to doing something back. Teachers will say if you do well enough on this quiz, or if you work hard on this assignment, we can watch Beowulf today and tomorrow in class. We are agreeing to do something, and it's sort of like bargaining out, right? So your examples there are maybe like a compromise because your definition is to agree to. So acquiesce. Right. Whoop. You thought I was going to let it go. Alright, acumen is your next word. It's a noun that means intelligence or sharpness. It reminds me when I was doing examples for this one of when we talked about jargon, which is a specialized language. Acumen is going to mean some sort of knowledge that professionals obtain. So I wrote down professionals obtain specific knowledge. So like business acumen means that you know a lot about business language and how business works, right? My acumen is in teaching and English and how to talk about different novels and things like that. I also put down hobbies, so like woodworking or knitting, right? You can even have acumen in knitting because there's a sharpness, there's a technique to that you have to understand. So acumen just means that whether it's a job, a hobby, something like that, that you have the intelligence to know how to do that activity well. Okay? Alright. And then your last one is not hard at all. It means, or your word is affable. It's an adjective, so it just describes someone who's being friendly. Alright, so your examples are acquaintances, typically people you see walking down the sidewalk don't flip you off or punch you in the face, right? They're either going to smile, nod, or say good morning, so that's them being friendly. Puppies are typically friendly unless maybe they're grumpy that day, but they're usually excited to see the newcomer into the house. And then children, you know, hopefully you're also pretty friendly. They always want to talk to you or show you something. So affable is an adjective. It means friendly. Again, it's just asking you to sort of heighten your vocab for this week. So those are your week 10 vocab words. We will have your quiz on Friday. Remember to watch this video if you need help. Email me with questions, and you've got Quizlet to use in case you would like to do the flashcards. Okay? Good luck.